Before a single lap counts for anything at Richmond, the grid is already telling a story. Some of the biggest names in the sport are staring down the toughest short track in NASCAR from the back of the pack. And if you know Richmond, you know that is not where you want to start. This is not a normal qualifying order. This is a preview of who is about to have a brutal Saturday night. Richmond gets one shot a year on the Cup Series schedule, and that shot is now. Qualifying is straightforward on paper. Every driver runs 2 laps alone on the track, and the fastest lap sets the order, 1 round. No heat groups deciding inside or outside lane. Pure speed, pure pressure. Last year, Ryan Preece grabbed the pole here, the only pole of his entire 2025 season. That alone tells you Richmond does not play by the same rules as bigger tracks. It rewards precision over raw horsepower. Now look at this year's order. Alex Bowman is qualifying 3rd, Eric Jones 4th, Kyle Larson, one of the most dominant short track drivers in the sport, sits 9th. Tyler Reddick is 8th. Meanwhile, former champions and playoff locks like Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, and Ty Gibbs are stacked at the very back of the order, from 33rd all the way down to 36th. That is not a coincidence. That is a system. Richmond's qualifying order is built off practice and points metrics, which means the fastest, most consistent teams throughout the year often draw the least favorable qualifying slots. It sounds backwards, but it is by design, a mechanism meant to keep the field honest and unpredictable. The problem is, Richmond does not forgive bad track position. It is a 3/4 mile bullring. Passing is a fight for every single inch. A driver stuck outside the top 30 on a track like this is not just starting behind, they are starting a 15-lap uphill battle before the race is even settled in. For teams chasing playoff points or fighting to lock in a spot before the postseason cutoff, this qualifying order changes the entire math of the weekend. A rough starting spot at Richmond can turn a potential top 5 night into a defensive damage control run just to leave with points intact. Here is where this gets interesting from a strategy standpoint. Starting toward the front at Richmond is not just about ego, it is about tire management and clean air. Drivers up front control the pace, stay out of the wrecks that pile up in the pack, and avoid getting boxed in behind lapped traffic later in the run. Now think about who is buried in the back third of this lineup. These are drivers with legitimate championship caliber cars. When a driver of that caliber starts deep in the field at a track this tight, one of 2 things happens. Either they show veteran patience, methodically work forward, and turn a bad qualifying result into an impressive recovery drive, or they get impatient, force moves that are not there and end up in the wall or in somebody else's mirror. That second scenario is exactly how Richmond produces chaos. Short tracks amplify frustration. When contenders are fighting through traffic for position they feel they deserve, tempers get shorter than the straightaways. Expect contact. Expect at least one incident that sparks a post-race conversation. On the flip side, a driver like Josh Bilicki or Cody Ware starting at the very front is a genuine wild card storyline. It will not last the whole race realistically, but it puts pressure on the front runners early and could scramble the natural rhythm of the race before the leaders sort themselves out. Is this format smart or dangerous? Both. It creates unpredictability, which is great for entertainment value, but it also increases the odds of contenders getting caught in situations that have nothing to do with their raw speed. That is a real risk heading into a race that matters for the standings. Fans of the driver starting up front are gonna feel good early, but Richmond history says do not get too comfortable. Track position at lap 1 means very little by lap 200. On the other side, fans of the contenders buried in the back are going to be nervous from the drop of the green flag. Every caution, every lapped car, every restart is going to feel like a make-or-break moment. Expect media coverage to lean hard into the recovery drive narrative. If any of these back-of-the-pack contenders manage to fight into the top 10, that kind of story sells itself, and analysts will be quick to point out that a strong finish from deep in the field says more about a team's execution than a clean pole-to-win run ever could. Best case scenario, one of the drivers starting deep in this lineup puts together a clinical, patient drive, avoids the early chaos, and turns a 30-something starting spot into a top 10 or even a shot at the win. That becomes the highlight reel moment of the entire Richmond weekend. Worst case scenario, the frustration of fighting through lap traffic on a track with almost no passing room leads to contact. A contender gets collected in an incident that was never their fault, wrecks their night, and walks away with a finish that puts real pressure on their playoff position heading into the next race. Richmond has a habit of picking one of those 2 stories and running with it hard. Rarely does it stay quiet. So here's the real question heading into Saturday night. Does this qualifying order set up one of the great recovery drives of the season, or is Richmond about to punish a contender for something completely outside their control? Drop your prediction in the comments. Who claws back from the back of the pack, and who do you think gets caught up in the chaos before the night is over? If you want the breakdown the moment the checkered flag falls, make sure you are subscribed to SportsWire USA, because this Richmond story is far from finished.